Welcome back. Today we do an installation, a tour, and a release of the BC-348 Interphone Radio. Let's get started. So I went ahead and set up a mock B17. There's all the stations, and I'm going to walk you through setting it up. I am putting all the chips together, the microcontrollers, and hooking them up. So let's jump into the editor. So first, let's get started with what parts are needed. Antennas are going to be a big thing because each one of these stations has an antenna to send and receive. Now you could set these up with smaller antennas on the other stations so that only the radio man has a large antenna for sending and receiving, and then the other ones can, I guess, basically receive but won't be able to send as far. I think that will be more convenient if you're trying to fit in a lot of antennas and you don't have a lot of space, instead of this big ball of antennas. But this was the best way I could do it. I tried doing relays and it didn't work. So this was the best solution I came up with, was an antenna for each one. So yeah. So the next thing you're going to need are monitors. So I'm just going to put these in the bar. I've already installed them. You're going to need a mic in some cases. Ta-da. You're going to need another monitor. I forgot the other monitor, which is the 3x2. Okay, and we're going to need a speaker. Ta-da. And one more thing we're going to need is a panel. The mini panels. All right, so after that, you're going to need two chips. The first one is going to be the BC-348 Interphone client, and the second is going to be the Interphone server. So the way this works is all of these will be connected to the server, but each one will have their own client. So again, we're taking up space here, but this was the best way I could find to do it. And remember, I suck at scripting, so don't judge me. So let's go ahead and take a look at a station. And we see the station is set up with a panel, and we have a button set to toggle, and we have it set to 1, which is going to be the push to toggle. And whoa, we have a giant thing on my thing. We have the monitor, we have a microphone, and we have a speaker. Now for stations like, not the radio man, but like the pilot, they only need the monitor. And that's because if we look, the pilot has his own audio setup and he has a composite output. So he is good to go with audio coming in, audio going out, and just has the interface for his radio. But when we look at the radio guy has a giant monitor, which is going to be the giant radio. He still has a panel, a microphone, and a speaker. All right, let's set up our chips according to our layout. I'm going to copy this one, and we're going to say this is going to be the bombardier. This is going to be our radio man, so we'll offset that a little bit. This is going to be our pilot, co-pilot, engineer, and then we have radio operator, and then we have ball gunner, and then we have right waist and left waist. Let's put it right there. And then we have our tail gunner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 10 stations. Let's just attach these really quick. All right, easy peasy so far. Now that we have our stations set up, we're going to go into composite. And we click right here if it's not already selected, which it is. And now we're going to set up our server. So our first guy is our bombardier, client 1, navigator, client 2, and we have our pilot, client 3, and our co-pilot, client 4. And we have our engineer, client 5. Yes, you know what's next. The radio operator, the ball gunner, the right waist, the left waist, and the tail gunner. So that is all the data going into the server. So whenever one of these guys changes a frequency, it goes to the server and updates everybody else. That was the best way I found to keep this all working properly. So we click the output for the server, and I believe it is the middle one. So we're going to go ahead and hook up our server into our clients. Easy peasy. There we go. All right, let's do our monitors. So our first one is going to be our bombardier. And we're going to go over here and set it up with the monitor in. All right, we're going to go ahead and go back this way and go to our navigator. And there we go. And in. I could probably just do it this way, huh? Go to our pilot. And pilot in. Go to our co-pilot. Go to our engineer. Engineer. And then we've got radio room, I believe. Ball gunner. Ball gunner, where are you? That's you. Right waist. Left waist. And finally, our tail gunner. Yay! Wait, where's our tail gunner? Way back there. All by himself. Okay, there we go. Good, good. And now, what do we have left? Well, we have our input for our push-to-talk. All right, let's go to our bombardier, who uses a seat, so we don't have to worry about that, and that will be like on number 1. So if we actually clicked on this, we'd want to set number 1 to push-to-talk, just so we know. Okay, so let's go ahead and set the rest up. For our navigator, you'll see we have a panel. The panel has a button set to toggle, and of course number 1. This is configurable in the chip, so you can change this if you want a different number. But for now, they're all set to number 1, so we're just going to go and set the push to talk to the navigator. All right, and back to pilot. Again, a chair version. Wait, did I already do the pilot? Oh, I did the pilot to the, yeah, bombardier. My bad. All right, there we go. So now we've got the co-pilot. And then we have the engineer. He has a push-to-talk button. And we have our push-to-talk for our radio operator. And our push-to-talk for our ball gunner. Push-to-talk for our right waist gunner. And our push-to-talk for our left waist gunner. I know you're figuring this out, how this works, but we're just going to go through and hook them all up, just so I can show you how it kind of works. All right, last one, Mr. Tail Gunner. All right, so far, so good. Next up, we can go over to the data, and you're going to see that we now have a few set up. Oh, actually, that one's already hooked up. So let's see if it's hooked up to the right one. So we have pilot, co-pilot, engineer, navigator, and that's so big, bombardier. So it is hooked to the bombardier. That is correct. But let's go ahead and hook these up in order. So pilot, pilot, co-pilot. I should have done these in the same order, but they're not. So there's co-pilot. And we have engineer, which is going to be this one. And let's look at these again. We've got radio operator and ball gunner. Okay, so radio operator and ball gunner. And then I assume this is left, right, and tail. Okay, so left. No, this would be right. Right, left, tail. There we go. Now we could have done these in any order. They're not special antennas, but if you were doing different sizes, you'd probably want to make sure that your radio operator got the largest antenna. But for now, we were just being precise to show you that they all have an antenna. Yay! So next up, we have our microphone is on. So we're going to go ahead and hook this up where needed. Not all of these need it. For example, we don't need to set it up on this guy because he has his own internal microphone. So we're not too worried about him. So we'll leave him alone and we'll jump to the navigator. Navigator does have a microphone. So we're going to click that. And we're going to go to the next one. Pilot doesn't need one. Co-pilot does not need one. The radio operator does need a microphone because his chair is a regular chair. Next one up, ball gunner does not need one. He has a special chair. Let's see. Oh, no, this is the engineer. My bad. engineer does need one. And so does the radio operator, but he has to be on the right one. So there we go. Good, good. Ball gunner does not need one. Right waist gunner does need his. There we go. And then we've got the left gunner. Which one's the speaker, microphone? There we go. And then we have the tail gunner. Does not need it. He has his own special seat as well. All right, so far so good. Next up is speaker receive in. We're not going to need that for our bombardier, but we will need it for our little guy here, our navigator. So he's got a speaker. Co-pilot and pilot do not, but this guy should have it. There it is, which is the engineer. So engineer has a speaker receive in, and we've got our speaker receive in for our radio operator. Yes. And what else do we have here? Okay. Ball gunner does not need it. Waist gunner does need it. So let's go ahead and hook up the waist gunner and this waist gunner as well. And tail gunner should be fine. Okay, is there anything else to hook up here on these things? Okay, that is just a test monitor swap. Don't need that. That was for testing. I think our next thing is going to be audio. So if we go to the audio, here comes the fun part. All right, so let's go to our bombardier. This is his audio going out, and it is going to go into the chip. And then from the chip, we're going to pass it out to our, which one is it? Right here, bombardier. So we'll just go ahead and pass it out to the antenna. So the audio comes in and the audio goes out. And then for his audio in, we're going to take the audio from the antenna and put it right back in there. All right, easy peasy. For the navigator, we're going to have our microphone come in, microphone go out, and the navigator is on this side, I believe. Where's our navigator? Oh, he's up top there. Navigator. So let's go ahead and grab it. And of course, the navigator's out, goes into his speaker. And that is it for that. Yay! All right, so we're just going to quickly do that for the rest of them. And so I might speed this up so you don't have to watch it in slow motion. So hopefully we set these up right, but the way this works is the audio comes in from our seat into the chip, and that's because the chip has a section where you can use a call feature, and what it does is it cuts off the audio to all of these. Also, the on-off switch is used to cut off the audio from being sent as well. So that's why we bring our audio in, send our audio out to the antenna, and then our audio comes back from our antenna directly into our speakers on the seat or in our actual speaker. So there we go. Let's make sure we have all the electricity hooked up here. No, we don't. So let's go through here and hook up all our stuff. All right, so I think our electricity is all hooked up. Now we need our monitors, I believe. There we go. All right, so first one is bombardier. And our tail gunner. All right, so I think I have everything hooked up. The final thing we're going to do is click on the chip. And what we're going to see is we have push to talk is set to 1, which is correct. All of these are set to push to talk. The seats are going to be push to talk on number 1, so we're good for all of those. But you could change this to a different channel if you needed to for your panel, because you have a lot of panels and you're using number 1 or whatever. You could change it, but default is number 1. Next up, we have our which stations are editable. It always sounds like I'm hungry when I say that, which I kind of am, but changeable. Let's say changeable for right now. This allows you to set each station to be locked off or able to be edited, so you can change the frequencies. All right, so the first one is the radio compass, which is the radio direction finder for the B-17. Usually the navigator and radio operator, and I think the pilot could change this. But for now, we're just going to kind of set these up the way we think really quickly. So this is the bombardier, so he's going to be locked off. And liaisons, he's not going to be able to do that. That was for like ground and airfield operations from a distance. Command was for the main battle group to use, and that was used by the pilot, radio operator. And so we're going to lock that off. This interphone, I'm going to be removing this because everybody can always edit the interphone. So there's 10 channels, and each one of these can change to a different channel. So let's say the navigator and the pilot want to talk to each other only. They could change to channel 4, and everybody else could be on channel 6 talking to each other. So that allows you to kind of have your personal channel set up within the bomber. I don't know how well it's going to work in multiplayer because, you know, they're not that far apart. So I'm sure the audio is going to broadcast pretty well. But just for the sake of setting it up, you know, to be kind of like the real thing, you know, I've done it. So we're going to leave that alone. And then the next thing is client type, Interphone or BC-348. So all of these, except for the radio operator, will be set to Interphone. So let's just go through these really quick. We're going to do navigator. He's going to be able to edit the compass and not those two. All right, next up, pilot. He can do all these. Sure, why not? Co-pilot, he can do all these. Sure, why not? Radio operator, no, this is engineer. Engineer, you're not going to be able to do any of those. Radio operator, of course, he gets all that stuff. Plus, he gets to be the BC-348. And then we have interphone, lock, lock, and lock, and lock, and lock. Okay, so I think we're good. There's no settings on the server. That's a done deal. Let's go ahead and hit spawn and see if it is set up correctly. All right, so this should be the feature section to show you. Oh, you know what we forgot? We forgot to turn on the monitors. So let's go ahead and hit the constant on. So we can go ahead and set these up. All right, like that. And then we're going to go ahead and turn on all of these monitors. All right, so as I was going to say, this is the section where we're going to kind of just go through the features of the radio, and then we'll release it. I think we're done. So hopefully everything goes well. All right, we're going to get to that one last. Let's go over to Bombardier. I want to say Bombarder so bad, but Bombardier. So the interface looks like this. Now, I don't have this set up. I'll probably set it up before I release it with like a little notepad, but these are using the World War II frequencies on the different channels, which are kind of like high and broad, so I'm gonna have to list them. But on the command channel, I think I allowed it to go ahead and go to lower channels. Now, we can't do anything here because right now it is locked off without any power. So let's go back to our radio operator. And here his nice interface is. It has a lot of things that look like they move, but they don't. The only thing you need to worry about here is the power. So we turn on the power, and as you can see, we have a little power icon, the command lights up, and then we can swap to the radio compass all the way to the left. There's the channel. We can go to liaisons, the command channel, the interphone, and then watch what happens with this. So if I hit call, it is going to go into call mode. I'm going to be broadcasting to everybody in the airplane all at the same time, no matter what channel they're on. And then it's going to swap back to the interphone after 5 seconds. So there you go. It's kind of like an emergency, like, you know, you have to get a hold of everybody at the same time. That's what the call is for. Okay, the interphone, you can of course change your channel. So right now it's on 8, and then if I go ahead and change it to 6 and hit the button, now we are set to 6. So that red light means that we have not set the channel. Okay, let's go back to this one, command. All right, so right now if we look, everybody is on command 3000. And you can see the power's on, but we cannot change the channel from those. So if the radio operator says we're going to 3100 and clicks the button, he just sent that out to everybody. And now everybody has their channels to 3100. And everyone can listen to the command channel. They can also change their channel to the interphone. They can also do a call. Again, once it's on call, everyone here is receiving it. Even if he's on 3100 in command, he is receiving the call. And then once the call is done, it returns to interphone. Okay. And then, of course, he can listen to the other channels. All right, good. All right, let's go back to the radio operator and show you something else. Okay, command channel is at 3100. Let's say I go up to 13,000. This is not a valid frequency for this radio. Technically, it should have, like, maybe this should have like a different kind of like band thing you can change back and forth to different bands. But it was getting complicated and I was running out of space for Lua, so we don't have that. Maybe next time. Maybe. But for now, it just turns red and says, you know, you cannot change to this band. And again, I need the little cheat sheet to show you the bands. But what I did allow, I think I allowed on this one, I'm not positive, is that you can go to a lower band on this one. Apparently I don't have it set to 1. I'll have to fix that. But you can go and you can go to a lower channel because in Stormworks your walkie-talkies are from 0 to 9, I think. Actually, you can't go to 0 on this one. Or 1. Maybe I'll change that. But for right now, you can go down here on your command channel to a lower channel. But each one of these channels does have the bands that are set up for World War II. So again, I need to make a cheat sheet, but for right now, you can just kind of play around. And if you get to a section where it's like, no, you know that you can't use that one. And if you try to use it, it'll say no. And then if you go back to 8,000, change to 8,000, of course, everybody changes to 8,000. Oh, 8,100. So I think that is it. The only thing I can tell you is you don't have to set up clients. So if you want to just set up the radio operator in your plane and have one antenna and one chip and one server, it will work fine. That's all you need to do. And you can use it as a single radio. You don't have to have 10 clients set up or 9 clients set up, and you're good to go. So, yep, that is it, I think. If you have any questions or I forgot something, let me know. Of course, there's probably going to be bugs because it's a little bit hard to test when you're not actually testing it in multiplayer. I did test it with the multiplayer radio, and it did, broadcast. Oh, broadcast. If we go like that, we get the little red light. The green light does not come on here for receiving, usually, because it blinks in multiplayer. So I don't know if I hooked it up or not, because there's a bug, and they've known it for like a year, and they still haven't finished it. I mean, they said, we know it's a bug. And still, if you are receiving a signal from an antenna, the thing will just blink like that. Except it'll be a green light. So, yeah. All right. I think that's it. All right. That's it for today. If you haven't done so already, hit the bell so it's ding dong when I upload a new video. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And I will see you next time as I sit looking into the radio, pondering why I started this project. See you next time. Bye.